Leinster eased away from a spirited Dragons side at the RDS. On his mark, let's talk rugby. Leinster were on attack early on in the game. We have, they spread the ball. There's a bit of a bouncing pass. It's picked up by Dave Carney on the left wing. He goes pretty close to the try line. They recycle it then. Somebody knocks the ball on over the try line. Dragons decide to actually run it back out from behind their own line. And they manage to get out. Advantage is called over. But they then lose the ball. Leinster spread it out. And Harry Byrne goes over. He converts his own try for 7-0. Leinster then tried to attack off a scrum, but Dixon and Tompkinson put in huge hits to force a knock on. Some decent defence from Dragons early on. Scrum then's a little messy. Dragons trying to keep it in to win a penalty. Ref is telling them that they've got to use it. Finally, two front rows stand up, reset a few times. Dragons get free kick then for overleaning. Leinster attack with Osborne. He nice offload for him to Turner coming on a great line. He gets within like 5 meters of line, just snags short. They recycle the ball. Maloney goes twice though and he gets pinged. Dragons are able to clear the ball. Dragons then mess up the line out that comes from that. But you can see like that they do have good aggressive defence, but you do feel that Leinster are going to find chinks, and if they do, they're probably going to score again. Dragons then have their first period of decent possession. They go through the phases. They get into 22. They are under pressure from Leinster, but Leinster concede a penalty. The move breaks down and we come back for that penalty. Dragons look to take the points, but Reid misses to the right of the post. Leinster then knock on and Ferbra, and it wins his penalty for the Dragons at the scrum. They kick that to the corner, set up the maul. Leinster halt them, and Maloney is able to get in there and rip the ball out. The ball is then given to Larmour, who breaks down the wing. He kicks ahead, but it trickles into touch. Dragons, around that period are stressing the Leinster defence. They've got some good decoy runners and some good lines as well. Dave Carney then gets told to leave the ball, but he picks the ball up. It's a penalty to the Dragons. We then have a bit of handbags between the two teams. Like their referee just tells them to cut it out. It's kind of the last of that we see in the game, thankfully. Dragons then kick into the corner from the penalty. Moriarty kind of has to stretch to claim the line out. Initially he does well, but then he comes down and the ball squirts out on the Leinster side. They're able to clear. Then Dragons have another line out. They overthrow this one. Leinster get it, but they knock it on and hand back possession to the Dragons. Leinster then put pressure on at the scrum. Dragons spread it, but Luke McGrath gets into the passing channel as they try to run a loop. He intercepts and has a clear run to the line. It's converted and it's 14-0. And kind of at that point you think so many chances for the Dragons, but this is kind of what Leinster can do. You give them a sniff and they're in. Dragons then, they get another penalty because McKee rolls on the ground, one time too many. They kick that to the corner. They go to the line out, set up the maul. They have penalty advantage. It breaks down, so we come back to for the penalty. They kick into the corner again. Leinster are able to halt the maul. Dragons then move the ball. Leinster flood the breakdown, but Dragons do really well to hold on to it and get it out there. Dixon with a good carry, and then Rodri Williams goes over for a well-deserved try. Reid converts that one, and with a 14-7, Dragons, look like they've come to play and not just to lie down here, which is great to see. Dragons then get pinged at the breakdown. Leinster kick it up the line. Dragons get free kicked at the line out. McGrath decides to go quickly from that. Scott Penny with a good carry gets within a few meters. He gives the ball then to Ruddock, who goes over to score. Conversions missed. We're at 19-7. Then Dragons are on attack, trying to respond before half time. They almost get through a gap, but the ball goes to ground. Leinster pounce. Ruddock finds Deeney. He's like, second row. He's got good pace, but he tries a dummy on the last defender. Doesn't buy it. He gets hauled down. Leinster then go through the phases. They work it like up to the line, and eventually they find some space. Harry Byrne goes over. He converts that himself. 26-7 at half time. Bonus points secured for Leinster. And, Dragons really did give them a game in that first half. The game was pretty close, but then Leinster just get those 2 tries in no time, and, it looks a totally different game suddenly. Dragons lose Tompkins to injury at halftime. He was moved. In the second half, he was moved to centre because Dixon had to go off at halftime. JJ Hanrahan then comes on into the side at inside centre. Dragons have another period of possession, but they don't really get anywhere with it. And Leinster make their way back into the Dragons 22. Dragons twice almost turn the ball over. Penny does well on one occasion to make sure that Leinster get it out and keep it. Larmour has to play scrum half at the back of a ruck, kind of out on out near the sideline. He snipes off the back of that and then kind of comes inside and does a step, finishes well in the corner. Conversions missed, but it's 31-7. And suddenly, Dragons really have been close to Leinster in terms of their play, but Leinster are just pulling away on the scoreboard. Dragons then, from the restart, get themselves into a good position. They're under the shadow of the posts. Penny gets pinged for being off his feet. Penalty to the Dragons. It's tapped by Coughlin. He's stopped short. Dragons then go through phases, picking and going. They're looking for gaps. Basham is a willing carrier there. Leinster's defence, though, is beginning to push them back away from the line. They go through 19 phases, but then there's a poor pass from Hanrahan, sails into touch. Dragons come back again, get themselves in position. They get Hewitt out on the left wing, but he gets forced into touch. Leinster's defence right now is very impressive. Leinster then ring the changes. I think they brought on 6 players at the same time. Moriarty has a good break for the Dragons. He gets them into the 22. They're looking for that second try. He gets tackled. Basham then tries to break through, but Leinster shut him down as well. They win a penalty and they clear. Jimmy O'Brien then goes for 50-22, but the wind takes it and it goes dead. Scrum back for the Dragons. Dragons win a penalty from that scrum. They kick it into the corner. They attack off the line out, and there's an offload that basically hits JJ Hanrahan in the face. But then he's able to regather the ball and goes under post to score. There's a TMO check just to make sure that, when it hit his face, it didn't come off his hands. The commentary team were saying that they felt it came off the hands. I'm not sure on the replays whether it did or not, but the try stands. It's converted. We're at 31-14. Leinster then make a mess of them all, and Dragons are able to clear. But then Jimmy O'Brien catches the ball. He runs it back up the wing, beats a couple of defenders, gets in behind, gives the ball to Barron, who's on at hooker. He passes inside to Russell to score Leinster's 8th try. That's converted for 38-14. Barron then turns the ball over for Leinster, and they strike again. Out to the wing to Carney. He chips over, and then Tector gets to the ball first, smashes through the covering tackle. Converse is missed, but it's 43-14. That's the last action of the game, and that's how it's finished. Now we'll have a quick look at some of the stats from the game. So, it was Russell scored his 8th try of the season, and Leinster's 6th, I think. So it was 7 tries to 2 in the game, actually, for Leinster. Possession 47% for Leinster, 53 for the Dragons. Leinster, though, they're just one of those teams that possession stats don't really matter for them, because they don't need that many chances. Like, Dragons did need a lot of chances to get their 2 tries, but Leinster, they can live off scraps. In most games, we have seen big teams, the likes of La Rochelle, really shut them down, but in this game, Dragons couldn't do it. Clean breaks then, 14 for Leinster to 6 for the Dragons. The likes of Jimmy O'Brien and Larmour, both like kind of up there with the breaks, but then you had forwards making breaks for them as well. Defenders beaten, 23 for Leinster, 18 for the Dragons. Offloads then, 12 for Leinster, 18 for the Dragons. And it's kind of a trend recently that teams with a lot of offloads aren't necessarily the ones making the breaks. It's a lot of, I've said it on other videos, there's a lot of kind of moving the ball away from the point of contact because they're under so much pressure from the defence. So the offload is kind of almost in desperation just to get the ball away from the point of contact. Into defence then, territory 42 for Leinster, 58 for Dragons. Again, Leinster, they don't need to dominate either possession or territory to put up a big score. Number of tackles, 202 for Leinster, 178 for Dragons. Leinster's defence was fairly impressive. Dragons early on in the first half were, quick off the line. They were smashing people back, but eventually Leinster just kind of wore them down and took their chances really well. Missed tackles, 18 for Leinster, 23 for the Dragons. Tackle success then, Leinster, 92%. Like, that's a really good number for them. Dragons, 89, which is kind of, right about the average, I'd say, for the URC. Turnovers 1, 7 for Leinster, 6 for the Dragons. Some of the Leinster's turnovers led to breaks that, eventually became tries as well for them. On to kicking then. So Leinster, 57% kicking from the tee. It was a pretty windy night. You can see Dragons as well, 67%. They went for that penalty early on from Reid, and the wind did interfere with that one as well for him. In terms of penalties conceded then, 9 for Leinster, 6 for Dragons. Dragons actually did very well, keeping the penalty count down. Leinster were conceding scrum penalties as well, which kind of put their number up a little bit. But even with decent discipline from Dragons, they still couldn't stay in touch with Leinster. In terms of where the teams are then, Dragons really did put up to Leinster, especially for that first 25, 30 minutes. But Leinster, just too clinical, were able to get those 2 quick tries and completely change the outlook of the game by half time. Dragons, though, under Di Flanagan, they are, more spirited this season. But again, I've said it in other videos where I've covered them. They do need to produce results. I didn't expect them to get a result against Leinster, but if they can produce this level of performance against other teams, especially when they're at home, they probably are going to, get another win at least by the end of the regular season. For Leinster, then, that's 14 from 14. They're looking unstoppable this season and look like they really want to make up for a trophyless season last year.